but you had something that you
Yes.
wanted to say. So we're gonna close the show with your takes.
So this show we talked about a lot about MMA and a lot about what people are allowed to say. And it's my opinion that you should be allowed to say anything as long as you back it up. But just because you're allowed to say something doesn't mean that there's not consequences. And so as a fan, I would love it if Daniel Cormier stopped allowing himself to talk about John Jones.
You know,
it's not a long rant. I just want him to stop.
man.
He get worse every time he say the word John Jones.
Like, bro, I don't know. I might have said this last week. I can't recall. Dude, John Jones brings out the absolute worst in that man.
Yes.
Like, Daniel Cormier is an awesome dude and just this guy who you look at like, man, you know, that's the way a fighter's supposed to carry this, all that stuff. But the moment he starts talking about John Jones, he reduces himself to some other kind
out of pocket. And the thing is, if you guys had a rivalry where y'all was gonna fight, I get it selling the fight. He's not even trying to fight John.
No, he legit hates this man.
I know, and it's stupid. Like
it's I mean, I understand to a degree, but you gotta stop allowing yourself to.
You know what I don't understand? The Twitter fingers. It's not like you a fan, right, and you can only speak to John through the media. You can get word to him how much you hate him anytime you want. Make sure he know it.
He probably has his phone number.
Right. Literally, you probably just text it to him.
Yes.
Or do it through a proxy. Why do you keep diminishing yourself by talking about this man? You out here talking about picograms. You talking about USADA. He's talking about his wife's butt.
His wife's butt, dude.
I mean, come on, bro. Stop. Because the thing about it is, when he beat Stipe,
yeah,
all I thought about was him beating Stipe and how awesome that was.
Yes.
Every time he talk about John Jones, we only think about you getting whooped and crying.
That's all.
And that ain't gonna change. So stop talking about John Jones. You keep putting coals in that engine, keeping it alive, feeding it all day. And as a fan of Cormier, I want him to stop.
I really would like him to stop because I am a fan as well.
I'm a big fan.
I love Daniel Cormier.
It's my belief,
monster.
He could have 500 picograms of whatever he want, and John gonna beat the hell out of it. So stop. You can have John with no picograms, and you get all the picograms you want. He gonna kill you, and we all know it. So stop talking about this boy.
I'm gonna beat the living picogram out of you, Daniel Cormier. I'm gonna beat a picogram out your butt. You understand me, Dan? Look, hey Dan, do you want it? I will kick a picogram out of you, boy.
Right on out of you, man.
You know, I don't understand. Like you know, Daniel Cormier talks about how he used to be bullied as a kid and stuff like that. And I swear, I believe there's something about John Jones that reminds him of the people that used to bully him. And he hates this dude. And
I get it.
The worst thing about it is Daniel Cormier was able to overcome those bullies.
Absolutely.
But he can't beat this one.
There's a great saying, Brian. Anxiety lives in the future and depression lives in the past.
Yeah.
In the moment, Daniel Cormier is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, heavyweight champion of all time. Mm-hmm. And one of the greatest light heavyweights. Mm-hmm. And one of the practically Mount Rushmore of UFC. He wouldn't one more fight against a significant opponent. You can't talk about the greatest ever to do it without talking about Daniel Cormier.
I mean, okay.
that him getting bullied is in the past. It's in
but
the past.
But you know how.
Let it go.
You know how that is, though, man. It's one of them things that, you know, we see Daniel Cormier. And because we haven't met Daniel, I actually haven't met Daniel Cormier. He's one of the guys I haven't met. Yeah. But we see or came in contact with Daniel Cormier as a world-class athlete. That's the first time we saw him. But Daniel Cormier has been with himself his whole life.
Sure. So he got all of it. He got little bullied Cormier.
He got a little fat Cormier.
Yeah.
All of that, right? And so while our definition of him is pretty much built on triumphs and 2 losses to John Jones, his self-definition is far more vulnerable than what
And he's
our
showing us every
and,
opportunity
and
he
he's
get.
showing
And I'm
us.
asking
And
him to
this
stop.
guy is the one who brings it out.
Yeah. And
Because
he needs to stop. It's not doing
now, but I will say this: Daniel is a dude that I've seen over time. It doesn't matter who it is. If you challenge him, you get that Daniel. Now, it just so happens that it looks worse when John does it, because John has beaten him. Like, everybody who calls Daniel out, Daniel gets that. Everybody, Gustafson, Ovin St. Preux, 2 professional wrestlers, the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and those guys that are involved with AEW, with Cody Rhodes. They talk trash to Cormier, and Daniel Cormier said, "Hey, dude, you do not want to see me." He said, "You guys play fight. You don't want to see me in real life. Stop saying my name." So Daniel gets that way anytime somebody comes at him. But the difference between that and this is because you've already been there with this dude.
Yeah.
And he's already proven you're superior twice. So it freaks him out. It freaks him out, and he can't handle it. Like, some people like, well, they should just fight a third time. I don't want to see them fight a third time. You want to know why?
No.
Because I don't think Daniel Cormier's psyche can handle losing to this dude 3 times, especially if it happens at heavyweight.
Right. And John said something very poignant about that. He said, this is not a personal war where I want to take everything from Cormier and go to heavyweight and take that from him too.
You know what?
And the funny, because he would.
He knows.
That's the sad thing. You know, as much as people can hate on John Jones, I don't know about, steroid abuse or whatever, but in terms of the fight game, he ain't done nothing but told the truth for weeks. He told the truth about Gustafson. And he telling you the truth about Cormier. Look, he's saying he just need to stop trying to take this away from me, because I could take stuff away from him
all day.
He said, he even said, I'm not trying to take this all away from you. You got your options. Keep my name out your mouth.
Yeah.
Or come get these fists, get put in your mouth.
Yeah. And then the thing of it was, now I will fault. This is where I will fault John. John knows that Daniel Cormier's father was murdered. Okay. He knows that. And he apologized to Daniel Cormier at one point, because he told him, he said, "Dude, I didn't know that your father was murdered. So I didn't know that because John has taken to this thing of calling him his dad. I'm your dad. I'm your dad." So Daniel Cormier was upset by that.
Yeah.
And it was like, for him, that's beyond trash talk, right? And so John told him that, "I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that." Daniel Cormier somewhat believed him and took it. And then John started doing it again. So that I understand, you know what I'm saying? And I do think that that's dirty for John to do that. But I think John said something very much that I think is very truthful from him. When he knocked Daniel Cormier out in the second fight, in the post-fight interview, he said, "Daniel Cormier is a better man than me. Yeah. And I hope that one day I can be the kind of man that he is." And I believe he meant that.
Yeah.
I 100% believe he meant that. But John allows that negative aspect of him to come out sometimes when he's talking to Cormier, because he knows he can just do it.
Agreed.
He knows I can just do it. And Daniel drops all of his strength, all of his better judgment, all of his tact, and he allows this dude to
that's the thing, because I truly believe if Cormier went neutral, he don't even got to say good things about John, but if he just went neutral and spoke about him like an analyst and was like
hating him,
you know what I'm saying, just neutral,
outwardly,
right? Just said this should be John's game plan. This should be Gustafson's game plan. This is my prediction for the fight. Moving on.
Yeah.
What do you think about you and John? I'm not talking about me and John. Moving on. If he did that, John would leave him alone.
I think he would.
But he can't help it. He is obsessed with this man.
Yes.
Like Venom and Peter Parker. He needs to stop. Let it go.
Yeah.
It's killing you.
It is. It really is, man. It's bad. It's a bad look, man. It really is a bad look.
I say this out of a genuine fan of Cormier. Yes. I like Cormier a lot. I'm looking forward to him ending his career on a high note. This is not the note. Let it go.
Yeah, I don't want him doing nothing else with John Jones unless it's a doggone UFC poster signing session. I don't want to see them doing nothing
for at-risk youth.
Yes, something. But that's gonna do it for the show today. I mean, I appreciate y'all watching. We went heavier on UFC this week than we probably ever had. So if this is your first show watching, you're probably wondering, is this a UFC show? It's all those things. We usually do lean a little heavier on basketball, but UFC 232 was pretty.
It was a great card.
It was a great card. Pretty significant.
Only one bad fight, in my opinion. It wasn't even a bad fight. It was just mediocre.
I don't know which fight was that.
I thought Anderson didn't show killer instinct in his fight, and he should have gone in. Yeah, Latifi. I thought he should have went in for the kill, and he played for the points, and he was in a position to have that fight taken away from him if Latifi wasn't so tired. Yeah. And I thought he was the better fighter, but he hesitated to show it, and that was disappointing. Because I think he fought beneath what is possibly his talent level, and he could be better than he was.
Yeah, his game is really the takedown game, and Latifi, he couldn't take him down because of the center of gravity, and Latifi was prepared for that. But I agree that he could have been more aggressive, especially when Latifi was mouth gaping open.
I mean, gassed. He was practically holding the cage, asking for a sip of water in the middle of the match.
Bad. And I thought that he played it way too safe, you know.
Yeah.
But
and that's why I say that was the only disappointing fight. The rest of the card was brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant fights all around.
Yeah, for sure. Well, people, I appreciate you watching as always. And God bless and peace.
Pocket, I'll be weak. I'm rather unique. Pocket, I'll be weak. I'm rather unique.